When Tekken 8 released, Leroy was one of the weaker characters in the roster. He was extremely buggy and a lot of his tools left him at a huge disadvantage, despite not being that rewarding. Many found him quite difficult, with Anakin actually placing Leroy here in an early ease of use tier list, with Kazuya and Brian. Leroy was hard to figure out, clunky to play, and very high risk despite low to middle reward. Ultimately I wasn't overly bothered. I'm no stranger to the low tier, as I loved Gigas in Tekken 7, so I just kept doing my thing, and was the first Leroy to every rank from Raijin to God of Destruction. I still largely maintained similar tournament consistency, and kept up with the same players as I used to despite my character being so apparently unplayable. I achieved this through the magical method of figuring shit out and working with what I had. Leroy wasn't even that bad. His strengths honestly outweighed his weaknesses if you ask me. It's just that he had some consistency issues due to some bugs. So what the fuck happened? Let me set the scene. Enter Twitter, or X, no one's calling it that, a magical land where every red rank's opinion holds as much weight as Ni's opinion or Arslan's opinion. Patch 1.04 is on the horizon, our first promised balance patch. With a deluge of complaints, the mob's whining gets loud enough. Their voices heard, the devs grant them a wish. A finger curls. Patch 1.04 went on to improve Leroy's unique characteristics. Most of his chain punches went from heavy disadvantages like -6 or -9 on block to being -2 instead. His parry, previously +6 standing on hit, was changed to a very sane and reasonable +21 on hit, and a wall splat property was introduced. The perfect parry used to give a 35 damage knockdown with no guaranteed follow-ups, and this was changed to a 40 damage knockdown, which gave a 17 damage guaranteed hit, followed by a 6 damage guaranteed hit, for a total of 63 damage, nearly doubling the reward. His strengths improving wasn't going to start breaking the game or anything, however they also dispensed with some of his weaknesses. His back 3 went from a 20 damage slow homing high with an okay counter hit property, to a 27 damage high where the counter hit property just became the normal hit property, which in turn caused the move to start doing over twice as much damage. This heavily disincentivized sidewalking, which Leroy was very weak to. He also gained access to sidestep 1+2, a +7 on block high. Normally, Leroy wouldn't really have plus on block moves, yet they gave him one anyway. These patch notes would set the thematic template for the future of Tekken 8's changes to come. Character adjustments wouldn't be focused on making the characters more interesting, or fixing legitimate issues, or addressing quality of life changes even. No, the new direction was more about brain-dead offense, less disadvantages on offensive options on block, and covering characters' unique weaknesses wholesale. And those who got these buffs were decided by what player base was crying the hardest on Twitter. This has been a very strange philosophy of Tekken 8. The devs listen to the wider player base's complaining and then aimlessly nerf and buff characters that get talked about. The nerfs will be focused on nerfing strong options while compensating other strong options into existence anyway. The buffs will be focused on covering weaknesses and buffing strengths, which in turn leads to more stale character designs that ultimately have a game plan focusing on rolling offense until it works. This homogenization and boring gameplay direction eventually culminated in the launch of Season 2, which, I could do a 30-hour breakdown on why Season 2 is the worst thing to have ever happened to the human race, and that would still be the most pointless thing ever, because everyone knows. I don't need to waste more time talking about why Season 2 is bad. Fast forward a little bit, here we are in the future, Fahkumram has just come out. In my opinion, he's got very good unique strengths while having very reasonable and counterplayable gameplay overall. I think, genuinely, he's a strong character with a strong identity. I'm sure the wider player base has a completely normal take on this.
He was low tier in Tekken 7, and on many fronts, he's arguably worse in Tekken 8. And that's pretty comical and ironic considering everyone else is doing the gear, the juice in Tekken 8. Everyone is so much better than...
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
Am I in a fucking time loop? Can we stop this fucking song and dance? Can we not do this thing again? I feel like every single time with Tekken 8 characters, no matter how good they are and what utilities they have access to, there always has to be more. Every character's weaknesses are too bad and have to be fixed by removing them entirely, and every character's strengths are something they need, even if it breaks the game, since naturally the only way to stay in the crazy meta of Tekken 8 is by having these broken tools. God forbid we acknowledge the fact that the meta is born from the fact that the characters have these tools in the first place. The player base got far too conditioned with this instant gratification low effort gameplay, and there's now a real demand for it. We genuinely deserved Season 2. With this latest patch having been the final big balancing patch for Season 2, things aren't looking very good for the time being. I don't know how things are going to go in the future, and I don't know, I wish I had a good hopeful note to be ending on, but I just really miss Tekken.